also because many Jews living abroad are purchasing houses and apartments here. Buying property in the Holy Land can be a joyous experience. However, particularly in view of the collapse of the Heftziba construction empire, there are things that buyers must know and questions that you have to know how to ask. Attorney Haim Katz, who immigrated to Israel from England, wrote the book Buying Your Home in Israel and spoke with IBA Sheila Zucker about the do's and don'ts of home buying.
We're a very, very small country. We've got 21,000 square kilometers, and in some years 120,000 apartments change hands.
Wait a minute, that's going to sound like everybody here is homeless and all the apartments are available and then can be bought.
Well, no, 120,000, and of which one-third are new apartments, one-third new construction.
In other words, building is going on at all times.
Most of the times. Most years, certainly now. It's a boom time. We're having a lot of building done, and we're talking about tens of thousands of apartments every year.
Is there any advantage to buying a brand new apartment as opposed to a resale?
Well, it depends. One thing about a resale is, you know, what you see is what you get. You can take a look at it, you look out of the window, you see what you're getting, and then alternatively you can buy a new apartment, think that you're going to get the view of the Judean hills, and instead of which you get a brick
Mrs.
wall.
Schmolowitz across the way. Yeah.
Right, which could be interesting, but I would say that nevertheless, there is a certain level of certainty. However, the great advantage of buying a new apartment. You're getting everything new, you're able to design the interior the way you want. There are advantages and disadvantages.
What kind of advice can you give to people who are contemplating coming to Israel, buying an apartment, or living in Israel and buying an apartment?
Well, like everywhere else in the world, this is no different. You have to take care how you purchase and how you plan your purchase, and it starts with the first thing is finding the money. You have to find the money, and to find the money is also it's a whole art. Because
but that's not everywhere, because I know in the States you can put down 10% of the price and get a mortgage for the rest, and you've got a house.
Well, you can do that in Israel today as well. Today you can get 90% mortgages in Israel. There are banks that will lend you that kind of money.
Then you have told me something new.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Not long ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we could only get 60% mortgages. We now, as a matter of routine, get for our clients to 85% and sometimes even 90%, if people want that kind of mortgage. It's available in Israel. We've come a long way in Israel.
Okay, what advice can you give people?
I think that the main thing is to plan well, to think ahead, to get good advice, whether it's from a lawyer, whether it's from an architect, whether it's from a surveyor who surveys the property and tells you what kind of problems there may or may not be. I think it's a question of being patient, doing it right, not rushing. You know, this, I must have it, got to have it, is a good thing, but you've got to do it carefully.
And how does one pick the right architect, the right attorney, the right real estate agent?
Well, I'm in no position to really recommend an attorney, you know, because I might be suspected.
As opposed to being, being an attorney.
The idea is basically to find somebody who specializes in the field, talks your language, and understands your mentality, and also understands the Israeli mentality. There isn't such a great gap, but there are differences of way of thinking. I think it's important to bridge those gaps. If you bridge them, you can have a very comfortable sale and purchase.
Dr. Haim Katz, you have written a book, Buying Your Home in Israel. What are people going to learn from reading the book?
Well, essentially, it walks them through the contracts, either second-hand contracts or buying from a new from a kablan, from a contractor. They're different. They're very different kind of experiences. The contractor walks you through, the contract with the contractor is very, very different in the sense that you don't get registration for many, many years sometimes after you've paid everything. But there are all kinds of guarantees, bank guarantees, government guarantees, legal guarantees. You have to know what you're doing. The book...
You need a lawyer. You need a lawyer.
Well, yes. Even though you may have read the book, Sheila, and I'm sure you have.
You need a lawyer.
You still need a lawyer. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think that not only a lawyer, I think you need a surveyor, and you need an architect to help you out. These are not great expenses in the context of things, right? And they're worth taking the right advice.
One word of warning.
One word of warning? It's very difficult. There's so many words of warning. Not necessarily because it's Israel. It's just because when you're buying real estate, you have to be careful what you're doing. And, you know, it's all there. Everything is solvable and soluble. The question is getting the right people to help you out.
Dr. Haim Katz, author of Buying Your Home in Israel. I thank you.